Welcome to Your County on Community 7 Television. I'm Schutz Wies and I'm your host. Each month we look at a different aspect of what's going on in Yellowstone County. And this month we're very excited to have one of our favorite shows here on Your County when we talk about the fair. We've got Tim Goodridge here, we've got Bill Dutcher here. We're talking about the fair, we're talking about MetraPark. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, we could probably talk about the fair the whole time, but there are a few other things. There's a few other things that go. There's a few other things that go on at MetraPark. So I know it wasn't too long ago. There was a big grand master plan, Metra going forward. What are we doing? All that kind of stuff. So kind of tell us where we are and then what's coming up. What's coming up next?
The big grand master plan is still up in the air and ongoing, and we have not presented a final version to the county commissioners to adopt yet. And we've been spending the last couple of months with our public outreach, Shepherd, Huntley, Laurel, all over to find out what it is that people like about MetraPark, what they want to see happen, things they dislike, because we're setting it up for the next 50 years. We want to make sure that we do this right. So that's where we're at right now, and people can anticipate us coming forward with what we see as the most equitable way to move forward and the best way to move forward here probably in the next month or two.
Okay. If any of our viewers out there wanted to give their 2 cents, put their input in there, what's the best way for them to go about kind of saying, here's what I'd love to see at Metra?
Yeah, the best place to go is MetraParkVision.net.
Yep. Okay.
And really that's what we're calling this. We're kind of segueing out of master plan. It's the MetraPark Vision, because the master plan is all just about land use, right? Yeah. And the vision of MetraPark is a whole different thing, because it's about events and activities and people. That's really what it's all about.
Sure.
So MetraParkVision.com.
Okay.
I probably said net the first time, so MetraParkVision.com.
I would bet if you Googled MetraPark Vision, it would not. It would. Google will get. They will set you straight. Yep. They will get you where they need to go.
They're smarter than me, much.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take you guys back in time to May of 2019. We had a pandemic that was just kind of starting, right? And one of the things that we didn't know was going to happen was there going to be a high school graduation at the Metro, like there had been for how many years, Bill?
Since 1976
wow.
was the first one in the arena. My wife was in a class of 1976, so I know that date.
And you guys were able to pull it off. A lot of hard work, a lot of work with public health. We were able to pull it off.
That was our big talk last year with you.
Yes, absolutely. We talked about it. So let's pull it back to 2021. This spring, we've had a whole year to work with it. Tell us how graduation went this year.
Getting me excited. See, I'm trying to keep my hands down, but after the year of temperature checks and 2 people per graduate, and that was the only event we had in a few months.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this year we had just come off PBR bull riding with crowds that they had accentuated up from where they left off in September with self-imposed limits on their end. So we had just come off a crowd of Saturday night 5,000 for PBR, and then led into our first concert. Tim and I worked together. First time in a year and a half we worked a concert. Toby Keith, we had 7,100 pre-sold tickets before the pandemic hit. Went exceedingly well. So here came graduation. At first they were talking about having 6 tickets per student. And then they said use good judgment. And people did, but they did not for families have limits, and they all went spectacular. They weren't the extra hours of cleaning and wiping down every seat. It was 10, 2, and 6, and they just went super. And when you add up, Tim, we got a body count, admission count, and it was right around compared to last year's shoots. About 13,000 people attended, not counting the graduates.
Wow.
The biggest one was around 4,200. The other one was right at a little under 4. And the other one was almost to that. So went very well.
Good.
Made a lot of people happy this year.
Do you think there was some of that, doing it the year before and making all that effort to have at least a graduation? Was that helpful in getting you guys ready for graduation this year? And maybe maybe allowing for we can do a little better than we did last time.
Very much so. And we had just had go back another graduation right before that, which could not happen last year. MSUB graduation, and look what they did different. Masks required. We still go during certain promoters. Tim and I can tell you there's certain rules for different things that we have to go by. But they had one in the morning and one in the afternoon to fan people out. not limit people. They didn't want a public concession stand open, for instance. So learning to adapt to different regulations for different things and making it all work, though, mainly so that the promoter, the renter is happy, the people attending are happy, and we've gotten, I think, Tim, very good with our crowd management and our staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest opportunity that came out of COVID, if you want to think of opportunities, was number one, hygiene. We have a much more focused approach to hygiene now, and then logistics. Because us having to keep all those people intact and all of those activities, and this time and that time and this many people, I mean, that really helped us step up our game, which is great when you're doing 8,000 people for, you know, Toby Keith. All of a sudden it's back in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Do you guys think that that some of this stuff, as far as the hygiene and the disinfecting and the crowd management and the logistics, are you going to kind of keep some of these procedures going forward, just because, hey, this turned out to be a pretty efficient way to do this?
It is. It's a smart way to do it. And the other thing is, even if you're not risking some pandemic, what you can do is cut down on flu transmission, any other kind of viral transmission. And it just makes sense to do that because people like it. They feel better, they feel safer, and that's really what we're all about, is fun and atmosphere. You come to MetraPark, you want to feel safe, you want to have a good time, you don't want to be worried about catching something or somebody doing something to you. So that was really an opportunity for us to rethink our protocols.
Yeah.
Well, and we had to do those basketball tournaments, Tim, for 3 weeks. We had basketball. You know, we had basketball. We had Hardin and Central and Laurel. God, we had great games. That's what eased us back into business.
Yes.
And our first big event was Monster Trucks. But then we had MHSA, who set the rules for our big divisional tournaments. They said 500 people. They said, we did a walkthrough, and they said, nobody can go to a concession stand that's on this side. Let's say it's Townsend on this side. Let's say it's Baker on the other side. The twain can't meet. You're going to empty the arena. So you learned how to adapt to who was paying the rent. Go back to the renter. And we just went through that with Baby Sharks. They do not, these folks are coming from all over the country. That promoter flew up from Nashville. When we talked with him, we needed to wear a mask, required. Our staff, including us, forget what our job titles are, they don't want you. Same with PBR, same with Toby Keith. They didn't want us anywhere near where their truck drivers were, their folks with their crews. They want to very well protect that. I see more of that in the future.
Yep. And I think it's smart for them too, because one of the worst things that can ever happen to you if you're a performer, specifically a singer and a concert, is to show up and you're sick.
Right.
Yeah.
And you still got to come out and do a show.
Right.
So if we can help to keep people healthy, we're all in.
Very good. And we've touched on this a little bit, but let's go back to it again. What are, over the, maybe say the last 6 months, what are some of the events that are coming in? What are some of the good shows that you guys have been able to have? Some good sporting events? What are some of the things that you guys have been able to have at MetraPark over the last 6 months?
Why don't you lay them out, Bill? You're the master.
You know what? Why don't you talk about the events coming up? And I'll talk about, Tim and I are good. I'm old, he's new, and it works really well. So, but kind of go back to at the end of January. We came out, if we didn't have Chase Hawks, we didn't have Nile. A lot of canceled or postponed events. We eased back in, and we got into having high school basketball. It just worked out fantastic. I mentioned Monster Trucks. All of a sudden, we had our first crowd. We quit selling tickets at 45 in the afternoon, so we didn't want to go from 0 to 7,000 people, making everybody in town mad, because we had 4,500, had a nice event. Then what we find out, Tim and I will tell you, is the excitement which we're still feeling and seeing of all the events we previously have talked about. People excited to do stuff. We had the young kids wrestling the end of March. The tournaments all came and went, and just went super. Very happy, all of them. But we came Montana Open Wrestling. Our friend Jason up in Bozeman, he puts that on for 15 years. Record crowd, 2,900 kids from 14 states. We had a volleyball event a few weeks later, Tim, first part of May. Our promoter came up from St. George, Utah. Just thrilled. Kids from 8 states and a few thousand. We had volleyball courts in the expo. The arena was open, and these beautiful, I had the pictures, these beautiful blue and red courts in the First Interstate Arena. And kids just came from all over, 8 states. They came up in a few thousand of those. That went well.
That was 5,000. We also had a jackpot show that weekend.
We had a jackpot.
300 animals.
Yes, and then we've been having gun shows, which have been very well attended.
And a dance competition. So we had 3 things that same weekend.
Dance that another place could not hold.
Yes.
So we had dance competition, totally new. Dance. We had a cheerleaders event, another one like the dance. And then we had cage fighting, which is MMA fighting. And one night we had it, and we know about what they expect. They've had it in the past, the promoter, and doubled the size of the crowd. Cocktail service on the floor. And we went in and just talked to people, and they were all just thrilled, people waiting to do something. So that's been kind of the mantra.
Yeah.
And PBR went very well on national TV again.
Yeah.
And then led up where we are to right now. And then Tim can tell you what's coming.
Yeah, we got Foreigner coming up at the end of the month. That was an on sale that was really fabulous. And then the next night, Jamie Johnson. So we do Foreigner the 30th, Jamie Johnson on the 1st, and then Travis Tritt is the next one. And then we're into Montana Fair.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Montana Fair is awesome too. We've had record-breaking sales for our night shows. So if people want to get tickets, they better hurry up. If they want to get good seats, Kesha, Cody Johnson, Eli Young Band, everybody's really excited about those shows.
Sure. And then we're going to get to fair in just a second. I swear that we are. Are you guys now kind of rolling into winter, late fall, winter, spring again, kind of, hey, things are mostly back to normal. Yeah, we're going to keep some of the logistics things that we found to be great, but all of those events you talked about, Bill, this is year in and year out. We're MetraPark. This is where we're going to be. Is that kind of where we're back to where we were?
Well, the way that we always operate, like Bill said, is that it's up to the promoter to determine the rules that we operate by.
Yeah.
We're ready to go wide open because that's the way our state is.
Yeah.
No problem. But the thing that's really strange about this year is the amount of dates that we have booked because everybody's coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
We're running out of calendar dates.
Yeah.
Tim, I got to say, he and I this morning, Ray's on vacation in St. Louis, but we're never far away.
Yeah.
So Ray was already on the phone with us. How many calendars did we go through this morning? Trying to fit in
an event,
fit in a couple major events, working with. And then we get down to the fine-tooth calendar.
You got concerts.
Dirt coming out, how long to scrub, to set a stage, and working around these other events.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And roping is back. Nile is back after a hiatus last year.
Chase
Hawks is back with a hiatus last year.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to see all those.
We're booking out to 2022 already.
Yeah.
And 23, we just bid the state basketball tournaments for 23 and already got them awarded for 23. So the calendar is really clear up to Jamie and Ray's calendar to 23 and starting in 24.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and are you seeing the entertainment promoters coming out of the woodwork too? Hey, we're coming through.
It's
Give
all
us a date.
starting with country.
Yeah.
They're the first out of the gate.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to follow, but there's a lot of concerts because we had Toby, we got 4, including Toby, and then we run into the fair concerts, so we got 3 there. Then we got Luke Combs coming up in the middle of September.
For 9,000.
Yep, and then there's a few other ones that are sitting on the books that we got to confirm, but there's going to be a lot of concerts going forward.
One promoter has a date. It's not announced yet, but I'll just say that it's another event, not a concert, and it's in September. But when they called, they said, "We want to play. Have you been anywhere else?" No. And their performers have just been sitting on ice for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of routing excitement they're looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to let's move on to the fair. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to give you guys some more time with it. What's the entertainment this year? Who's coming? When are they playing? How many folks can get tickets? And how many are left, Tim? Because I know you said they're going quick.
Well, they really are for the night shows. Unprecedented record-breaking ticket sales. And Ray tracks it like comparative year to date, and we're about 30 days ahead of our record-breaking year, which was Carrie Underwood, right?
Yes.
So
Kelly Clark, and Kelly Clarkson.
Yes, Kelly Clarkson.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're right. That was a record.
So we're going to have a full house. Then we got Big Air Bash. Then we have the rodeo.
3 nights in the First Interstate Arena.
Yes.
You don't have any choice, Tim. You don't have a grandstand. You can't sell me a ticket to the grandstand.
No, we're looking.
Well, we can sell you a ticket to a
Yeah.
grandstand. You'll just be disappointed when you show up. That's all.
There's all kinds of fun stuff coming for the fair too. We got our gate acts back, so there'll be lots of activities for the kids.
Oh yeah.
And then why don't you tell them about Dig It Days?
Yeah, because I know one of the questions you always give us so we got some things to think about before we come in. And what's new for the kids this year? Well, one thing when you say what's new this year from last year, because that's a big part of your pre-questions with us to think about. Last year, remember we split the arena. Mm-hmm. We had to combine the arena with the expo to have the 4-H and FFA on that side of the grounds, because we couldn't, because of the health restrictions on the other side of the grounds. They went in gate 1. The other folks went in over here. Well, now this year. What question, when you can't have the public see animals, what do you get asked every time you're on the grounds, Tim? What do we get asked? Where can we go see the animals? Sorry, you can't see the animals. So right off, let's go right to the get-go. Yeah. People are going to go into that most beautiful air-conditioned building in the United States for animals, is the expo. And all the things there are in there. I just love going down there when it's the poultry one day, and then you go down to the rabbits, then you go down to the pigs and all the cattle, and so then we'll have the horse shows and everything. But the public will be able to go see all those events.
It's amazing how much people really miss that.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that we heard the most last year.
Yep.
How come we don't get to see the animals?
We don't get to see the animals. That's why you go to the fair. One main reason. You got the carnival. You go over there to see the carnival, but that's a big thing. And then you mentioned that we don't have the grandstands, but we're getting the great big tent.
Yes.
Which we couldn't do last year because of limitations of budget and else. We're going to have a huge tent.
We couldn't do it because we were limited to a certain number of people on the grounds at a given point in time. So the one cool thing that came out of last year was that everything was done online. Everybody scanned in, so we had accurate counts of the number of people on the grounds, and that's going to continue now too. Yeah. So if you're smart, you'll buy your tickets in advance, because there's packages that we have online, like 4-packs, 2-packs, various ways that you can get entries, and also discounts on ride tickets too. So you want to do that. Buy your tickets online. Then you don't have to wait in line to purchase them at the gate. You just roll right in, you get scanned, and boom, you're in business. So that's one of the coolest things that's going to happen going forward now, is everybody can buy and do touchless kind of stuff instead of all the cash transactions.
Well, if I'm wanting to get that done early, where do I go? Where do I go online? And what are my options for getting into the fair this year?
Yeah, MontanaFair.com. That's where you go, and they're all listed there. There's various names. There's like, 2-packs for a date night, 4-packs for a family. That's what I got for my kids last year too. You buy them a 4-pack, and then you send them the email. The email has the tickets, so you don't got to give your kid a couple $100 cash, drop them off in the parking lot, and then in he goes and he loses $100. He's calling you on the phone going, "Dad, I can't get into the fair." You send them the email with the tickets, they scan in, and then, $20-$30 for popcorn, soda pop, hot dogs, whatever it's going to be. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Dig It Days. That's going to be great, kids. That's
have you heard about Dig It Days?
I don't know.
Thursday and Friday, and it was set up by Jonathan McNiven and Yellowstone County News, and it's going to be out in a big, huge part of our grandstands with 20 major pieces of equipment.
Yes.
And
big mining equipment.
They're going to have a big piece of mining, hauling equipment.
They're going to assemble one of those coal dump trucks on the grounds.
Oh, cool.
Big giant sand pile. Yeah. They show kids how all these huge pieces of equipment work. That's going to be on the 2 days.
Yeah. That's going to be Thursday and Friday. And then, of course, you asked on special days. Since we're having a motorsports arena in the arena on Monday night, we'll be setting up the rodeo Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesday night's going to be Buddy Night. We usually do it Monday night, but this year we're going to be setting up rodeo on that day, so the parking lots won't have a night show because we fill the parking lots on those nights. But Buddy Night is 2 for 1 to get in. You talk about values. 2 for 1 to get into the fair, and 2 for 1 for the rides down with Thomas Carnival, who's here after 43 years with a full carnival this year. Last year they had about 40% of their rides to make it work. Full carnival coming up from Thomas Carnival. Wonderful, wonderful folks. So that's a big deal. Kids Days Wednesday.
Kids are coming in free.
Yep, kids under 12 free, and that's going to be a great day. And So that's another way to save.
I think we're going to have a really cool Build-A-Bar from Anheuser-Busch, one of those ones that comes on the back of a truck and pops up, and you got a little outside bar that's set up. So that'll be probably one of the exchange clubs manning that for us during the fair if you need a frosty cold beverage.
As long as we're on beverages and food, give us some of the protocols on food safety, and then do you guys have any new food vendors coming in this year, or kind of what we're used to?
I was talking to the guys today. One thing we're excited about is that every single I know you want to know what's new, but every single food vendor is just thrilled from 2019, the last big full fair. And we got all new hookups for them, Tim, because as we got a whole new carnival lot with beautiful paving and drainage. Well, we also got new light poles. And that area where the Independent Midway is all brand new asphalt Jeff just had done. And that's all new hookups for all of our concessionaires. But every single one was knocking at the door to come back with all of our favorite foods. And then one of the things our guys said, they wanted to remind us, I remember it well, I was in a food eating contest they set up for me one night and invited me with some of our maintenance guys. I just remember my ears ringing, man versus food. And it's s'mores fries.
Oh boy.
And you give you a platter about that big, and I was just, but that's one that was just.
They're low carb too, right?
Yeah, and that's from our concession stands. So anyway, all of the favorite fair foods are back. That
Carameled apples from Broccos. Oh, those are my favorites.
Yeah.
We touched on it a little bit before, but let's talk about it again. Carnival's coming, full carnival. What did you have last year, and what are you going to have this year?
The full Monty, because they were shut down all the way up until North Dakota last year. Minnesota, Illinois, down. They dropped in Texas right when we did during basketball season. And then they left us and went to Filer, Idaho, Utah State Fair, and then everything after went down. And they kept their poor workers working. So wonderful. Well, this year they started in April with a full slate.
In Florida and Texas.
Yeah, and they'll be back with their full kids carnival. And just a pleasure to have here, and it presents so well out there and then the super rides that they subcontract out for the super 200-foot high rides, speed, and those other rides that they bring along. So.
Sure. What have you guys heard from people? What are you expecting? How far people will come from the fair? Have you guys been hearing from folks that are coming from a pretty good distance and want to know kind of what's going to be there? What have you heard along those lines?
You know, we would get Canadians if they would open up the border. I don't know if they're going to open up the border by then, but we draw people from a 500-mile radius.
We were talking about that. You're good with your pre-questions. And you know what? Tim and I were talking this morning. I think 500 is realistic because, first of all, people can enter animals in our 4-H, FFA, and they can enter clear over to the Idaho border in western Montana. I have friends calling me. In fact, one of my fair friends called me the other day. I have friends calling from Glendive and Plentywood getting tickets for things that they're calling. They want to buy tickets. And that's a good indication. I talked to my friend, that's the manager of the fair, Jamie in Sydney. So people will come a good 500 miles.
Easy.
Yeah.
Clear down to the southern Wyoming border.
We're the biggest show in Montana every year. And people kind of take us for granted because we've been here for, 100 years?
About 105. Seemed like we just had our 100th fair, but that was about 5 years ago, so we're about 105. Two things.
Consecutively, too. Yeah. We have not missed a single one, not even in World War II.
No.
The same thing, Junior Livestock Show went on.
Been one every year.
We're very proud of that fair that we did last year, even though it was
We were one of 20% of the fairs in the United States happened last year.
Wow.
Two things I don't want to forget, because if we get so excited talking about things, and it'd be easy to forget. The Shrine Train, who I just love, oh God, they're the best people. They take that interior train. People want to watch their kids clear down in, art's going to be this year.
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning. The art's going to move. We didn't have any art last year.
No.
The kids' art is going to move from the First Interstate Arena Exhibit Hall to the 4-H building down in the west end of the ground.
Sure.
And that art, last year it was our crowd management building, the Cedar Hall, where we have the square dancers during
fine
the year.
art.
Yeah.
That is an air-conditioned, beautiful spot, nice bathrooms. That is the most beautiful paintings, pictures, sculptures.
It's a great location, too.
You want to get off if it's a hot day, go in there, and it's just
plenty
great
room.
place. But the two things I wanted to say was the Shrine Train interior just goes. They are just absolutely so friendly. They pick up the grandparents, little kids, and they just take them down towards where the grandkids are riding rides. They bring them back towards where the animals are and anywhere in between, beer garden in between.
Sure.
And then our shuttle buses from the upper parking lot. That's a huge upper parking lot. In fact, very big parking lot. When you look at those aerial photos that John Oslin takes, there's a whole lot of spots up there.
Long way to walk.
So that takes you kind of on a figure 8 down the hill and around past the First Interstate Arena and do a circle through the pavilion. Takes you right to that main entry gate and lets people out. When you're done, it brings you up after the Shrine Train is taking you around interior. Those are things that we do. There's no charge.
Sure.
We're glad to offer.
So let's talk about this a little bit, about the future of not only MetraPark and the fair, but because you guys are in the process of doing your visioning, how do you see MetraPark adapting to another 100 years worth of, or another 50 years worth of fair? What's going to be changed in MetraPark that's going to be, hey, the fair's even better this year than it was last year, and it's because of this vision, and it's because how Metro was changed.
Tim's a good finish with this.
I think what we do is that we build things that are flexible, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen in 10 or 15 years. What we're building now is to set the stage for the people that are 20, 30, 40 years old to have their children and grandchildren enjoying what we're going to do. So the key for us is to make buildings and event centers that are flexible and that they can have a variety of different things. We don't want single-use event centers or single-use facilities, because then if that type of event goes away, boom, it's no good anymore.
Yeah.
The other really important thing for us, and we're working with the state on this too, is how to get a signalized entry-exit on the south end of the property so that we can load and unload the property. That is absolutely instrumental to any of the plans that we're doing. But for us, it's the same as it's always been. It's entertainment, it's trade shows, it's agriculture, and it's sports. Those are our wheelhouse right there, and we're going to focus on that going forward, because that's what our mission is to the county, to provide that kind of a gathering place for everybody in the county, and also Montana too. We want to retain our iconic position as the entertainment center capital in Montana. We've done that for 50 years, so it's incumbent on us to do the same thing going forward with this new rebuild.
Junior Life, a couple things fair related, as I had a minute to think while Tim was doing that. Great. Junior livestock sale, record amount of dollars for that. Last year. It'll be back in the expo building, but it was and people can do it online also and do that. That was one. But our 4-H and our commercial vendors, we just love our heritage arts. We'll be having those back. Bingo from the Elks, they're going to be here back this year.
All the meat and potatoes
all
stuff.
Those things that we missed last year. And commercial vendors, you go in on a cool day and the kids are out riding rides, and before your events you come in from out of town. All those things will be back and just make for a fantastic, safe, fun, friendly fair.
Yes.
Well, it's getting back to normal, and normal is fair in Billings in August, and everyone is looking forward to it. So, Bill, thank you so much for coming down. Tim, thank you so much for coming down, talking about the fair.
Thanks for having us. We want to see everybody at the fair.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see everyone at the fair. It's going to be great this year.
You bet.
Thanks for coming down,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks a lot.